Om Jnanatimidandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto him. Do you think you could close that door, Tapas, please? Because we're going to be yelling out there. So today, or this evening, we'll be reading from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. As it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we'll be reading from chapter 10, The Opulence of the Absolute, text number 10. Tesh, so if everybody could please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. I'll just read the word by word, Sanskrit and the English. Tesham, unto them, satata yuktanam, always engaged, bhajatam, in rendering devotional service, pritipurvakam, in loving ecstasy, dadami, I give, buddhi yogam, real intelligence, tam, that, yena, by which, mam, unto me, upayanti, come, te, they. Translation. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Purport. In this verse, the word buddhi yogam is very significant. Sorry, Tapas, can I ask you to do one more thing? I just close the door that's separating the pujari room and the kitchen, because you can hear all the washing of the pots there. We may remember that in the second chapter, the Lord, instructing Arjuna, said that he had spoken to him of many things, and that he would instruct him in the way of Buddha Yoga. Now, Buddha Yoga is explained. Buddha Yoga itself is action in Krishna consciousness. That is the highest intelligence. Buddhi means intelligence, and Yoga means mystic activities or mystic elevation. When one tries to go back home, back to Godhead, and takes fully to Krishna consciousness and devotional service, his action is called Buddha Yoga. In other words, Buddha Yoga is the process by which one gets out of the entanglement of this material world. The ultimate goal of progress is Krishna. People do not know this, therefore the association of devotees and a bona fide spiritual master are important. One should know that the goal is Krishna, and when the goal is assigned, then the path is slowly but progressively traversed, and the ultimate goal is achieved. When a person knows the goal of life, but is addicted to the fruits of activities, he is acting in karma yoga. When he knows that the goal is Krishna, but he takes pleasure in mental speculations to understand Krishna, he is acting in jnana yoga. And when he knows the goal and seeks Krishna completely in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, he is acting in bhakti yoga, or Buddha yoga, which is the complete yoga. This complete yoga is the highest perfectional stage of life. A person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to a spiritual organization. But if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain him. So the intelligence and material existence is, could say, contaminated or corrupted or muddied or clouded by different, you could say, impurities. And therefore the intelligence needs to be purified. Intelligence needs to be purified, as well as the mind and the senses and everything we have, right? So there's a process of the intelligence. Come in. There's a process of the intelligence being purified, and that's the process of Krishna consciousness. And one great teacher, I think it was Madhavendra Puri, but he says, Kama dinam katida katida palita dorni deshas te sham jata naina kuruna napato shanti utsri jaitan atayata pade sampratam labdi buddhist twamayata sharanamabhaya mamyuk shwapmidasya. So he says that I have tried to satisfy my desires, my material desires, in so many different ways, and they've brought me no satisfaction. And specifically, he says he's been like a servant, or humble servant. When you think of humble servant, it's kind of somebody who doesn't argue, who doesn't. You ask the humble servant, okay, please clean the bathroom. Okay, yes, I may clean the bathroom. Okay, now please cook something. Okay, and they go cook something. They're just, there's no fighting, there's no arguing, there's no talking back. It's just, they're just a humble servant. And he says that he's been a humble servant, sold out servant of his senses, of these different desires, the desires of his senses, the urges of his senses. He's been a humble servant of them. In other words, the senses and the mind say, do this, do that. They have certain urges, and then the person says, okay, sure, I'll just do it. Humble servant, no arguing, no. Yes. So he says, I've been doing that for so long, but I haven't become satisfied. And then when we say satisfied, it means, because sometimes people, the lower the consciousness, or you could say the more base the consciousness, the more base the happiness is. Like for somebody with just low consciousness, okay, well, I have a roof over my head, right? My stomach's full. Whatever, I have some entertainment or something like that. It's a type of satisfaction, but it's not a high satisfaction. Whereas somebody who is more progressive or more advanced, then they want something more than that. They want something more than that. That's a sign of higher consciousness, that they want something more. So he's saying that I haven't become satisfied by serving my senses, the desires of my senses. And he's saying, so therefore now my intelligence has awakened, and I'm rejecting all these desires of my senses and materialistic desires, and I'm running to you, Krishna. Please engage me in your service. So the intelligence, he's mentioning the intelligence and how his intelligence has awakened. So every person within this world, they have that option. Do they want to operate on the material platform, or they want to operate on the spiritual platform? Now, of course, sometimes we operate on the material platform, we go back and forth. But we have the option. Do we want to have awakened spiritual intelligence, or do we just want to have dumbed down kind of, what is that word? Routinized? Yeah. Every day-to-day consciousness or routine, in which we don't really think much. Which nowadays it's very common, actually. It's very common in the world, largely, just based on people's what they say and what they do, to actually not deeply think about things. And just like my friend, he would always mention about how he saw a buffalo one time. He looked into a buffalo's eyes, and he said how he was just completely like spooked, completely. Because there's nothing going on there, not much going on there, and the buffalo's eyes just kind of like glazed over. So, so therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam and so many other books, it says that the human beings, they should be not like, right? They say donkeys, cows, right? Of course, cows are, but. Shouldn't be like those animals. In other words, we should be thoughtful. And the more we could purify our intelligence by chanting Hare Krishna and reading spiritual literatures and associating with spiritual practitioners, bhakti yoga practitioners, that's the better, because our intelligence becomes more and more clear, more and more clean, and then that you could say is our greatest fortune, if we're able to do that. Or else, if we let our intelligence just kind of wander here and there, and we use our intelligence for the wrong purposes or for the materialistic purposes, then we just remain humble servants of our these base qualities, right? Selfishness, lust, anger, greed, all these different things. So here Krishna is saying that to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. In other words, he gives the intelligence. Okay, move this way, move that way. Don't go this way, don't go that way. He gives intelligence. And he enlightens us, like the next verse says, that Krishna, to show them special mercy, I dwell in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge their darkness born of ignorance. So Krishna, he will enlighten us. We just have to apply ourselves. And you could say that's the problem, because it's so difficult, or it may seem so difficult to muster up the determination, the enthusiasm, the energy to apply ourselves. Right? There's so much going on in the work world, and there's like an ocean of topics that we can engage ourselves in. And to find the time and to find the determination to actually apply ourselves may be difficult, but it's possible, and it's based on desire. So if we have the desire and we cultivate the desire, which is born from association with devotees and is sustained by association with devotees of Krishna, then we'll actually have the determination to apply ourselves. And without application, we can't expect much results. Oh yeah, I tried Krishna consciousness, it didn't really work. Well, how much did we apply ourselves, or how much did the person apply themselves? So if we apply ourselves, it will work, and we will become enlightened. Krishna will enlighten us, and therefore it's being stressed within the Bhagavad Gita and so many other books to rise to the mode of goodness, which means to operate on the mode of goodness, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita, what exactly that means. To operate on the mode of goodness, but it doesn't just mean like for the morning time or sometimes in the noontime we're in goodness, or in the evening or something, but it means all the time. In other words, become steady in the mode of goodness, because sometimes we're in the mode of goodness, but then we fall down to the mode of passion, we fall down to the mode of ignorance, and then we come back up to goodness. But to remain steady on the mode of goodness. Because mode of goodness, it is the mode that helps us if we apply Krishna consciousness while in the mode of goodness. It helps us to make advancement. For example, the mode of goodness, some different principles. Cleanliness. It helps external cleanliness, internal cleanliness. To be thoughtful, that's an aspect of the mode of goodness, right? To be thoughtful about the right things. And what other mode of goodness? For example, to rise early in the morning. This is symptomatic of someone in the mode of goodness. Of course, somebody could be in the mode of passion, ignorance. It depends what they're rising for. But so rising in the morning, early, cleanliness, having developing a peace of mind. Eat, right? Could be in the mode of goodness or the mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Just like here in Pacific Beach, there's so many things that people eat, mode of ignorance, right? Sushi, mode of ignorance. So many things are in the mode of ignorance. So to eat food in the mode of goodness, to keep one's surroundings clean, to keep oneself clean, to rise early, what we listen to, type of music, what type of podcasts. There's mode of passion podcasts, mode of ignorance podcasts, right? So all of this, all of the different things that we subject ourselves to, the way we live and think and all that, it could be in the modes. The more in the mode of goodness, the better. And to stay in the mode of goodness, stay in the mode of steady. So this will help us have a. This will help us actually. This will help us greatly make advancement. In the mode of passion, Hare Krishna. Someone in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, it's very difficult to make advancement. Is it working? Why? Because the mode of ignorance is lethargy, laziness, which is, there's like lethargy and laziness in their spiritual life. They just don't go well. And from that, intoxication and so many different things like that. And then the mode of passion It's just, where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? Or, yeah, the senses are on fire. All right, it's time. Forget about Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna. I got a lot of other things to do, right? I'm not going to the kirtan to chant Hare Krishna. I'm going to the bar to chant, karaoke or something. Karaoke night. That's a mode of passion. So goodness is important, and it will help us greatly. So to find out exactly what that is, of course, there's more descriptions in the Bhagavad Gita, full, complete descriptions of the mode of goodness, how to act and live in it. And while adding the practices of Krishna consciousness. And so, yes, it is difficult to apply ourselves sometimes, but the mode of goodness will help. And here Prabhupada says, at the last purport, he says, a person may have a bona fide spiritual master, guru, and may be attached to a spiritual organization. But if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna from within gives him instructions. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that the person may not be able to figure out how to make advancement, but Krishna from within helps. And the qualification is that a person always engage himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be done with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress in the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to Him. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that a person has to be sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service. So in other words, a person may not be able to figure out how to make progress, how to make advancement so clearly, but if they're sincere, if they're devoted to the activities of Bhakti Yoga, then it says Krishna will give them a chance. In other words, will be guided. So, but we should try to be intelligent and try to have a clear conception how to make progress, how to make advancement, and not just depend on our sincerity or our devotion to the activities of Bhakti Yoga. Of course, we try to do both. Be intelligent, we should also try to be devoted and sincere in our activities in Krishna consciousness. But the intelligence can or will be purified by chanting of Hare Krishna and other processes of Krishna consciousness. And then it will be easy. So, does anybody have any questions or comments? Yes.
You mentioned a few things, to sustain
I think he wants you to talk in the mic because of the large audience online.
Yes. So you mentioned a few items to stay in the mode of goodness.
Yes.
But sometimes it's difficult, with the bathing and getting up early, right?
Yeah.
There's always difficult. Is there one thing that we can do that can keep us constantly in the mode of goodness? One over something else that if we can do this, this will help us more stay in the mode of goodness?
Yeah. One thing, huh? Well, it's tough because, someone will say, like everything I eat's in the mode of goodness. And some people are like that. It really is in the mode of goodness. They have their acai bowl in the morning, and then they have their whatever, kale salad at lunch, which I don't know if that'd be considered the mode of goodness, maybe the mode of passion. But they have whatever for lunch, some type of, something. We could imagine something in the mode of goodness. And then they khichdi, and then they have their dinner, right, mode of goodness. So they may be eating in the mode of goodness, but then maybe other aspects are in the mode of passion, like maybe they're just really greedy or something, like for lots of money and the kind of mode of passion. So it's tough because it all works together. And if you look at people I know people who rise early in the morning, to go to work. They rise very early, 3 a.m. or 3:30, or for example, I know people who rise early in the morning at 2:30 in the morning, and then they go running. Now, we don't nothing against exercise. Exercise is good, right? To exercise the body and to whatever, get some fresh air and. But if you analyze exactly why they're doing that, maybe it's for like external, appearance. They don't, they want to look a certain way, healthy or whatever, attractive to people. You could say it could be for like vain reasons. It's like mode of passion. Whereas a devotee devotees wake up early, but they're doing it for spiritual progress, right? Or to meditate or something. So it's kind of like a whole package, in the sense that, okay, it's good to do as many things in the mode of goodness as possible. And then maybe someone's doing something in the mode of passion, maybe someone's doing something in the mode of ignorance. All right, that may be there. But the more things in the mode of goodness is, the better. So, in other words, if we say, okay, well, you could rise early in the morning, but then in terms of your eating, well, could be a little passionate sometimes, or, ignorant sometimes, depending on, what you want. Or if you say, well, you could eat in the mode of goodness, but then, you sleep 15 hours a day or something. It's like, okay, it's good you're eating in the mode of goodness, but then the sleeping's kind of, it's kind of like, what do you say? Well, it's kind of like you're one step forward, 2 steps back type of thing. So that's why a lot of the times people, they don't make as much progress as they should, because they're not able to get all of the activities kind of lined up, right, in a nice way. Like sleeping in the mode of goodness, not too much at a particular times, right, timings. Eating and different things, and it actually helps. There is something to it. Like Srila Prabhupada said in the Nectar of Instruction, he says, one should follow the preface, I think it was said, one should follow the instructions of Rupa Goswami and live in the mode of goodness. And he said, then everything concerning how to make further progress in devotional service will be revealed. So he gives a lot of stress to it, the mode of goodness, and to follow the instructions of Rupa Goswami, and he said everything else will be revealed. So in other words, the mode of goodness is illuminating. But, yeah.
I have to answer this question. I would say that the very important thing is to keep check on your thoughts.
Yes.
Keep your thoughts biased or controlled.
Yes. Yes.
Stray,
Yes.
bad side or the wrong side. Then probably that will happen more than anything else.
Yes. That's true, the thoughts. But it's tough because, what you eat, what you eat will affect how you think, or how you sleep will affect how you think, actually. So, but it's hard to boil it down. But I would say, we have to have a balanced diet. Like in general, like tonight, there's going to be different preparations. There'll be rice, there'll be dal, there'll be this and that, right? There's different preparations. So it's not like we're just serving you halava for dinner tonight, It's not so healthy. Maybe someone would like that. Okay, halava, great. But it's not so healthy. So similarly, trying to just pick, one. Okay, it's good. Like halava's good. It's healthy actually. And if you don't take too much, it's healthy. But to have a balanced diet, to include all of it, that's the best. So. Anyways, I hope that kind of, okay. Does anybody have any other question or comment? Okay. Seems like there's a brown.
Okay, I had a quick question. So would you say, is there like a hierarchy for like the doing things in the different modes? Like is doing something in the mode of ignorance like automatically kind of the lowest sort of tier? Or like I would assume, doing something like sattvic would be like going to bed at a good time,
Mhm.
getting a good amount of sleep, and then maybe rajasic would be like good work ethic, maybe. So like that might be good, and then like, or I don't know, would doing something in the mode of ignorance like automatically kind of be negative, or is it kind of needed?
Yeah, I mean, the mode of ignorance is like, it's just the worst. Because it's like, practically nothing good comes from it. So, like the mode of passion, for example, can be engaged, you know? Like let's say somebody's like really passionate, but then they have some inkling for Krishna consciousness. They have some attraction, you know? So they like really work really hard, like too much, like workaholics, right? Make a lot of money or something. Now, because they're in the mode of passion and they're attracted to Krishna consciousness, then they say, okay, I just worked like 18 hours a day, and I made a bunch of money, and I've been doing that for like the last 6 months, and okay, here's a donation to the temple. So they're like engaging in the mode of passion and Krishna consciousness. But with the mode of ignorance, it's just like, it's just completely destructive. Like, practically, there's nothing that I could think of that good that comes out of it. So, anyways, maybe you have a comment about that.
Well, I was thinking to maybe devil's advocate could maybe be that there's that breakdown of there's what is it, lazy intelligence, where I'm intelligent. What we could start say a busy intelligence. So I have intelligence as to how to get things for myself, and so I'm very active. And so they said that's not as good as lazy intelligence, where I know how to get things without working so hard. But they said there's like the other two categories, where there's lazy fool, and there's a busy fool.
Yes.
So a busy fool is very passionate, working very hard,
Yeah.
to get everything he wants, and that's actually the worst.
Yeah.
Because the lazy fool would be better, because the lazy fool, is too lazy to actually get himself into so much trouble.
Yeah,
So I was
that's a good
thinking
point.
Maybe in some exceptional cases you could say that in the mode of ignorance, like, if I sleep an extra hour and then it keeps me from going and, trying some intoxication or something like that. Some people say that actually, that like to get over some like passionate like addiction, like they'll just like sleep extra, which, it's not a high thing just to oversleep, but it's like, it keeps me from thinking about, yeah, like, I'm like, okay, it's to go to sleep, go to sleep late at night. You stay up late at night,
Yeah.
Passionate, and then, or maybe you could say it's passionate, but then just go to sleep extra. Now that's
interesting
stretched
point.
perhaps, but I'm saying maybe there's some scope for
Yeah,
exceptions.
yeah, that's a good point, because like you said, there's a lazy fool, which means they're just lazy, and they have a bunch of bad ideas, but they don't act on them. They don't have like the intelligence to act on them, or the like determination. And then there's an active fool, which he has a bunch of bad ideas, but he's active and he acts on them. He makes harm for others. So I guess if you think about it like collectively, yeah, because you could think about it different ways. You could think about it individually, or you could think it collectively. Now, individually, the mode of ignorance is worse. Individually, the mode of ignorance is worse for the individual, right? But collectively, you could say that the mode of ignorance may be better than the mode of passion, because if you just imagine all the fools of the world and all the destruction they made, just imagine if they weren't in the mode of passion, if they're just in the mode of ignorance, sitting at their house, getting all these bad ideas, but they're like, I'm kind of too lazy. Let me just open the fridge and, pop a beer or something. So collectively, you could say the mode of ignorance, yeah. But individually, yeah, no question about it, it's the worst. But like Prabhupada said, those who proclaim themselves religionists and cheat people, they're actually worse than just ordinary people, because they're doing the most disservice. So.
The other example I was thinking of was that animals are really in the mode of ignorance.
Yeah.
They're so clueless that they don't actually accrue karma in their lives, because they're just like acting on impulse. They're like so covered by the modes, they're really low mode of ignorance. And so, but in that low mode of ignorance, because they're so covered up, they don't, they're actually kind of constantly being, uplifted, But
Yeah.
someone in the human form of life, they're given the opportunity to really engage fully in like so many passionate things, and get themselves in so much trouble, more trouble than the animal could ever
Yeah.
get themselves in. And so then from that they go way lower.
Yeah.
Than, and of course that's not exactly apples to apples, but.
Yeah.
But that also came to mind that the passionate human can actually sink like way lower than
Yeah.
due to like their desire to get so much, enjoy so much, they enjoy so many things, it degrades them so far.
Yeah, that's true. There's also, like BJ was saying, there was some person, he was out in the Amazon forest, and he talked to one of the rangers out there, and then he spoke to the ranger and said, "So, in your opinion, what's the most dangerous animal in the Amazon?" And the guy said, "Oh yeah, the most dangerous." Said, "That's a human." So they have the intelligence to create problems. So, anyways, I hope that. So yeah, pretty much just stay away from the mode of ignorance. And collectively, don't have bad ideas and act on them.
Also, something came to mind when you were speaking in the beginning. You were talking. I forgot what led to the point, but you're saying you look in the eye of like a buffalo, and it's kind of shocking. It almost seems like there's just nothing going on there.
Yeah.
It's like you look at like a goat. Like there's some goats near the farm, and I was looking in the eyes of the goats, and it's like really wild. It's like it just looks like there's not a lot going on. Like
Yeah.
And so you said that said about donkeys or cows.
Yeah.
And you're saying, of course, we like cows. We don't want to think of the cows as stupid. But
Yeah.
I was thinking that actually, I think it's kind of a nice example how cows are actually not very intelligent.
Yeah.
But they're wonderful. Cows are nice. And I think I just like the point that we don't value things based on how intelligent a certain person is. So like it seems like we often that if you like a person, you won't say they're less intelligent.
Yeah.
Or if you like if a person's good, they must be intelligent.
Yeah.
And if to be unintelligent would be like kind of they can't be that's like lessening their goodness as a person.
Yeah.
But no, somebody doesn't have to be intelligent. Like some of the most brilliant people are just demons, and some of the most wonderful people aren't like what we consider like intelligent, but they're pure.
Yeah.
And so animals. So isn't that there could be a very pure, wonderful animal. It doesn't have to be a what we consider like very intelligent.
Yeah.
But it's it's live. It's a pure animal, or a pure person. Same thing.
Yeah.
I don't need to show my intelligence. I should try to show my purity, rather.
Yeah. Yeah, there's many, like you said, there's many people who, may not have super sharp intelligence or something, but because of their simplicity, their purity, they're great people. But within those people, even though, there may not be a lot of super sharp intelligence or something like that, within those people, say humans generally, somehow or other humans, their eyes, there's there's more going on than the gold or anyways, generally, right? So anyways, he was commenting on that. Tirtha Maharaj, he was commenting on that regularly about goats and buffaloes and this and that. So, all right. So Mogalila Prabhu's here to lead Tulsi Puja, right? Sing. Because they're gonna sing Tulsi now. Naveen could do the arti. All right. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.